So hello everyone, welcome here to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for round number 9 of the Insomniac Racing Tour Season 2013-1. I am Josh Mertz bringing you the commentary feed, and there's a big storyline for today's race. The top two in points, David Krikorian and John Quinn, they are not here. They're at the California Speedway in Fontana for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series weekend. So many of the drivers, including Dylan Livingood, Tristan Hagenstein, or even Justin Malillo, who's running his momentum off the Open 500 win, will they be able to capitalize and take the win tonight and possibly take some points away from the top two? We shall see in about a 100-lap race here under the lights at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Commercial-free, uninterrupted coverage here on the Automotive Sports Network. Glad you can join us here tonight. We are going to focus in immediately here on practice. 22 minutes are left to go as we're going to pull up our timing and scoring here. And Tanner Smith is the first car we focus on in car 13. Interestingly enough, P1 28.486 for the Corsair Dodge. The ATN Autosport driver had a hell of a run at Riverside, California 1 week ago. Had a hell of a fight with John Quinn. As I said in the opener, Krikorian and Quinn are not here. The SoCal boys not here. So this will give everyone else a chance to shine under the lights here at Charlotte. We got a couple new drivers here as Josh Chin is in the 66 for David Krikorian, the King Taco car. So Chin going to try and get a win here for Krikorian. Chad Michaels in the 25 car. Maverick Morrow, winner at Gateway 2 weeks ago. Randall Coleman's back. Jeffrey Stanton. Adam Sweet's back in the 91. So we got a big gem up in turn 2 here. As still P1, the leaderboard has not changed. In the top right corner of your screen, you see the countdown here, remaining minutes of practice. I believe this is the first week that the Insomniac Racing Tour they dropped their old format of qualifying. They didn't want to qualify, which would roughly be around 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time for some of these drivers. So, living up to the name Insomniac, as Adam Simons coined it a couple minutes ago over the radio. He coined that term, and they dropped that format, so we're going to have this practice session, the drivers' meeting, qualifying, happy hour, race, all in one night here for round number 9 of the Insomniac Racing Tour. David Krikorian has won half the season so far. He's got 4 wins and 8 top 5s, but he won't be able to continue that himself personally, at least. Josh Chin will be able to continue that with the 66 car as Tristan Hagenstein. Oh my! He had it saved. He bounces it off the wall. He's going to slide down the track. Oh, don't hit him. Aaron Johnson and Josh Chin. As Tanner Smith still holds P1. There's Nick DePalmo, the 33 car. Randy Ridgway is back in the 2 this week after the swap with him and Cody Erdman. As Maikos runs through the grass here. We're going to take a look here on the scanner, see if anything's going on. Doesn't look like anything noteworthy is going on. So we're going to get back on our cameras here. Number 2 car, Randy Ridgway. Running along here. Adam Simons behind him, a little bump draft, and the 2 is in the inside wall. That wasn't very friendly. And Simons is around. as I'm really surprised that Tanner Smith is holding P1, although I know Josh Chin probably trying to get used to the SoCal Autosport equipment, as he's been running a bunch of, I believe he runs the HPD, the ARX Honda prototype, the P2 car often, so he's just trying to get himself reoccupied with the stock cars here. Dylan Livingood in the tribute car. Jesse Masterpool, motocross rider, tragically lost his life, I believe 3 years ago. And you can see the lines on the numbers. As I don't think he stated the reason why he did that, but he has a reason. It's just another tribute to Jesse and his family. As you see, the Rockstar logo is peeled off the 51 car. As here's Justin Melillo, as I don't really like to shine on drivers when they end up crashing. Melillo, your winner of the 2013 Open Speedway 500 earlier today, in a car that pretty much is identical to this one in paint scheme wise. He flew from Daytona Beach up to Charlotte. His team sent a car from Charlotte. I believe it might be time for the driver's meeting, as the director decides to press the wrong button. Apologize for that. As race director says, they have to fix something on the track, and practice will end at 10:30 Central Time, so that's 11:30 Eastern, so we will see here when it is going again. As something is critically wrong with the track, I believe. There's not a lot of grip, so I think the safety workers, see outside the commentary box, the safety workers are probably laying down some more rubber. Artificial rubber, I should say. So let's see, the first car out is Josh Chin in car 66. 20 minutes left to practice for these drivers, and then they go straight to qualifying. Stanton, Tanner Smith, Adam Sweet, Livingood, Morrow, Ridgway, DePalmo. And good news, we have found the tape for the shootout, as I focus on Tristan Hagenstein, because this is your winner. As now you probably won't watch the race, but I'll suggest that you watch it anyway. It's an incredible race. We'll have that broadcast up by Sunday or Monday, which more likely Monday overnight, as we like to upload our stuff on demand when the off-peak hours for our internet service provider. Get the maximum upload speed. It's in the works, but I can tell you that we might have the IRC Super Speedway Dash series, Jesse's Super Speedway Dash, Jesse Barbieri. His series might be appearing sporadically on the Automotive Sports Network in a tape delay fashion. We're going race by that, and he has talked to executives about having a contract. We're still in the works with that. Keep you updated. We have a sponsor, as I forgot to mention in the opener, Shadow, as we have our first presenting sponsor, which is interestingly one of our employees, so we'll get that worked out eventually. So everything is looking well, as we are possibly looking into covering the UNSR series again, as myself and Xander Clements have patched up what could have been a burned bridge, as we were talking before we went on air earlier today. We might be able to cover a few races, although it's unknown. As I'm looking here on the scanner, is contact on the backstretch with Morrow, and I believe it was Ridgway and Hagenstein. I don't think you could fit a piece of paper between those cars. P1 Maverick Morrow with a 28.711. Then it's Adam Sweet with a 28.784. Chad Michaels with a 28.826. Nick DePalma with a 28.865. And Simons with a 8.97. As Chin moves up to an 8.79. In the wall, he clipped him. Is Tanner Smith in the wall was living good. That might have busted the right front suspension. Oh, I think it did as he's sliding through the grass in car 13. So he slid through the grass. We got a issue with our software here. One moment. As we should be okay now. Sorry about that, folks. As an issue popped up on our main computer here. They had to get that sorted out. So here's Smith and Coleman. They're side by side here. And it looks like this is a really slippery track. It's relatively cold here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's why you don't see that many fans out in the grandstands. They're all finding heaters and bundling up in jackets if they're in the stands. As Smith's around in car 13. Here's Maiko's trying to avoid it. He does a good job. As Living Good's around again in car 51. Morrow spinning and taps the inside wall. It's a really, really slippery track. Here's Keith Sherman in car 87, Toyota. Adam Sweet. Here he is on the track. As currently P1 still is Morrow with a 28.711. Randy Ridgway in 10th with a 29.164. He's been having issues all weekend long with the 2 car. Getting word drivers meeting will be skipped. Most of these, actually all of these drivers pretty much know how the process goes, as most of these series that they run have the same techniques, you could say. Once we work on our infrastructure to get our live broadcasts back, there are many ways that you can interact with us during our live programs. There's our Facebook, which is fb.me/automotivesportsnetwork, twitter.com/ASNTV_USA, #ASNTVUSA. Our Twitch, which you would be watching at this moment, twitch.tv/ASNTVUSA. Our on-demand YouTube channel, youtube.com/Walden82. We have 2 domain names for our site now, asntv.tk and asntvUSA.tk. So let me repeat those as I didn't know how to speak. asntv.tk and asntvUSA.tk. Those are the 2 domains that you can access our site at. As we are growing in staff numbers by the day, growing in series again by the day. So our rebirth here in 2013, while we had to take the month of February off due to many problems within the organization and with the CEO and founder having issues. On track, Jeffrey Stanton. Looks like he's got a little bit of damage for some reason in car 61. And, oh, wow! As I caught that, just as the cars were going out of the shot there, Keith Sherman having issues, and he nearly crashed into the 61. That was very, very odd. There's 13 minutes left to play in practice here. And 5 cars are in the 7/10 of a second bracket. 2 are in the 8. We have 3 in the 9, and the rest are 29-second laps. So 15 cars here today. Actually 16, so not a bad field here. As Nick Dawson put out a press release that he is not racing at least this race, but he might not be contesting ovals, although that is completely unofficial. He probably will be back next week. As Hagenstein on pit lane, Tanner Smith on pit lane. They're merging here onto the track. So drivers meeting will be skipped, so we will go straight to qualifying. And it's going to be the old style qualifying, where we unfortunately do not have permission to get footage of the cars going around the track during their qualifying runs. And parked on the backstretch is Dylan Livingood. Now back in the pit lane. There's Malillo pulling off. So around goes Wetz, hard into the outside wall for the 71 car. He's going to slide down the track, and he's clipped by Adam Sweet. And oh my, huge accident outside turn 4 with Hagenstein, Coleman, Wetz, and Sweet. Is sitting in the middle of the track is Hagenstein. There he goes. He gets off. And looks like a connection issue in the pedal region for Adam Sweet caused the accident on his end. His Livingood's car is torn up. As I believe they had to modify the setup a little bit, and the teams modified their setups, and I think it slowed down the cars just a bit. As you see, riding the wall is Josh Chin. He's around, and he nearly crashes into his one-race teammate, and hard into the inside wall goes the King Taco Chevrolet Impala. As a lot has changed from last week to this week, it was announced during the week that this next upcoming Insomniac Racing Tour season will not be the Generation 6 cars racing at NASCAR Sprint Cup Series tracks. It is going to be a short track truck ASA type series. So that should be interesting to cover here. There's many regulations changed as well, like the cautions. We'll get into that soon. Speaking of soon, as I say almost every week, we hope to try and get Speed Zone going. Just when we gather enough contracts, we should have a weekly show with all the races we covered that week. It should probably be out Sunday nights, or Monday mornings on demand. We're working on a Roku channel, which is like a normal television channel. We are, as I said, we're still working on that. Still in the works. As on-track action here with Hagenstein and Wetz. As if you'd like to apply for the Automotive Sports Network, you can easily do so. Send an email with what you would like to do. We have plenty of openings. Send an email to asntvUSA@gmail.com, and we will be sure to reply to you. As Adam Simon's P4 as he smashes the outside wall. As Wetz finds the wall again in car 71, but he went fastest as I missed that entirely. Chris Wetz, P1, 28.695! And that was interesting. On track, Caleb Paul in car number 8. We got a little pack here with... no, we don't! Never mind! I jinxed it. As Smith is on his side. Is he going to flip over? No, he doesn't. He's on his wheels. As they were nearly 3 wide, and I think the downforce got taken off the 13 car, and around he went. As a 200th of a second advantage Chris Wetz has over Morrow in car 57. As Aaron Johnson on pit lane. Exiting the pit box, Chris Wetz, Tanner Smith, and Aaron Johnson. As he pulled into the pit stall, it looks like he's having a bit of an issue getting going. As Jeffrey Stanton still has that right side damage. I don't think he took a trip to the pit lane. As contact with Smith and Stanton. As another accident out of turn 4. Chin hard to the outside wall. Morrow, Coleman, Simons. Paul takes it to the pit lane. As I honestly think that this is the slippery track causing all this, as the rear end of the car is just slipping in the middle or even the exit of the corner. and causing all of this issue. With Wetz, rode the wall, and around he goes in car 71. Many drivers are parking up their cars and heading back to the motor coach lot for a moment. As around goes DePalmo in turn 3. It's honestly a downforce and grip issue, but you can almost say, I mean, you can't, but I mean, if you were crazy, you could say that it was a tire issue because the cars are snapping. They're effectively, if you're European, snap spinning because of the low amount of grip, just like Paul di Resta in qualifying for the Malaysian Grand Prix. As then there was rain, and he got on the curb, snapped the car, and it spun. That's a snap spin, and these are what the drivers are dealing with, as that was odd, as we're going to get an instant replay of that. Randy Ridgway, we pan the camera over. Oh my! That was interesting. So we're going to do this. Here's an instant replay. As Livingood was rolling down the track, and he's trying, oh, he was on the wall. Livingood comes up, and oh my! For a flight goes Randy Ridgway. So that does not seem too fun for him. Back on track, though, in car number 2. To the pit lane, Keith Sherman. And he's sliding, noses it in the wall. Hagenstein hard into the outside wall. He was sliding that car and smashed the wall on the exit of turn 4. And Chris Wetz hopped out of his car, got on his phone, probably looked at Twitter or Facebook, and he gives that on the radio to the drivers. Gravedigger the Legend is your winner at Monster Jam. As he's riding along the wall. So I think he has his phone in his car. And that's not very safe. But as Livingood doing the same thing in car 51. 4.5 minutes left to play in practice. And Chris Wetz still quickest. Morrow is trying. I don't know if something's broken on that car. As Ridgway goes by in car number 2, side by side, are Chin with Paul. These are 2 Solstice Racing competitors. Several of these drivers are from the Solstice Racing group. There's Caleb Paul, Josh Chin. I know Aaron Johnson is from the Action Packed Racing Series. Keith Sherman is from Solstice. So we got a couple of people from Solstice. Jake Poulin, I believe, is from Solstice Racing as well. So last-minute entries for the Charlotte race here for the Insomniac Racing Tour. As here's Hagenstein in that very nice-looking Ford Fusion, NOS Energy Drink Spotify Century 21 car. 3.5 minutes left to play in practice. And then it's on to qualifying. So here's Livingood on track. P16. 17 cars have run a lap. It's going to be an incredibly interesting race here in Charlotte, as we're going to get a different pole sitter for once, as David Krikorian, I believe, sat on the pole for every single race. As 2-car tandem, they're bump drafting down the backstretch with Tanner Smith and Chris Wetz. And right in the entry of the corner, right when the banking starts, that's when the load makes the car really, really loose, and right on the exit when the banking drops. Car around, it's Sherman through the cone. The cone foundation's not going to be happy. You could say it's a green cone foundation because the orange, that wasn't an orange cone. I don't think there's any orange cone. No, there's an orange cone at the entrance pit lane as I look at the commentary box. Oh my, what is this? A very large accident, vehicular gymnastics all around. Not very good. 2:15 to play. See if anyone can get quicker here. in practice. Currently, Chris Wetz is P1, and it's Maverick Morrow, Adam Sweet, Aaron Johnson, and Adam Simons. Your top 5. Excuse me, there is, it's getting relatively late here. You could say 10:30 Central is relatively late. I woke up early. I had to do a lot of work inside the company, and it's tired me out. But I will try my best to deliver the best commentary I can. Here's Simons and Sherman around the corner here. It's Hagenstein. Bumps it into the wall. Hagenstein, I believe, took it to the garage. Yes, he did. Adam Sweet, contact. Here's Maiko's in car 25. We have a 3-car train here on the backstretch with Smith, Chin, and Johnson. As Chin's trying the outside, not getting a lot of space. Smith throws the block, probably accidentally as he drifted up in the corner. As this little pack here is relatively entertaining compared to single-car runs. Chin trying to... Oh, it looks like he moved him up the hill with Arrow, and he is in the wall. So Chin bounced it off the wall. Johnson to the inside of him. As around is Tanner Smith. As the end of practice here at Charlotte. As those are your the quick time. Chris Wetz. It is a surprise to see him up front, as normally, as we've stated in Rallycross, he could either be really, really fast or be completely slow. So it's really good to see him up front. We're just checking our scanner here to see if we're missing a couple things. As we noticed, a couple paint schemes weren't appearing on our satellite feed. So we're just going to grab those here real quick. But this race looks to be incredibly exciting. I mean, we got the top 5 was within a tenth of a second of each other. So we'll see what happens here as we're going to get our stuff worked out once again. So once we appear, get our signal from the satellites working again, as I apologize for this. As the satellites are not cooperating with me. Am I missing something here? Okay. Then fucking whatever.